Good morning. Welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11. You can find me on Twitter at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at some pitching for today, Wednesday, May 17th. We have a weird breakdown of slates. It's like a 5-game day slate for DraftKings, and I believe it's a 7-game main slate. Which is weird because there's a couple games then in between the day and main slate. I don't know. I stopped trying to figure out what they were trying to do, but we're gonna take a look at both the 5-day game day slate and then the 7-gamer this evening. Make sure, yep, 7 games. So, all right, let's take a look pitching wise for the day slate. Sonny Gray being 10.8 against the Dodgers seems like a healthy price to pay against a top tier offense. But it is going to be a price that I'm willing to pay. Gray has made 8 starts on the season and has allowed 7 runs. Now he has been a little worse on the road. Whip is pretty high right now, but he has yet to allow a home run this season. Obviously, I don't expect him to go the entire season without allowing a home run, so that might be an issue here against the Dodgers. But I like his K numbers this year. Other than his first start where he struck out just one, his numbers have been up. I really like it. Strong ground ball rate. I think he's going to be a little overlooked, so I am going to be on him a bit. I'm not going to go super heavy, but I will have exposure. Yu Darvish against the Royals. Yu has been solid. Just 2 rough starts on the season. But even then, in one of them, he put up over 18 DK points. The Royals team isn't one to be afraid of, too much. I don't really like that he only threw 80 pitches last time out. In a game that he looked pretty solid in. His pitch count has kind of gone down each of the last 4 starts. I don't think there's any issues behind it. If injury issue wise, I don't think that's the case, but maybe they are trying to limit him a little bit earlier in the season, first half. But we'll have to see how that keeps going. But right now, Yu is going to be one of my top options on this early slate. Dustin May is in play, but I don't love it. Strikeouts aren't really there. He does get an increase in strikeouts potentially against this Twins team. He is favored. He's been solid. 2 runs or less in 7 of 8 or 6 of 7. 7 of 8 starts. So he's definitely in play. He's just not somebody that I'm prioritizing. But I may end up there more than I guess I initially thought. Graham Ashcraft is going to be in my pool. Couple bad starts recently. Prior to that, he had been solid. His K numbers haven't been there the last 6 starts. I do expect him to come back at some point. The walks can be an issue. He has only allowed 4 home runs on the season, so that's nice to see in Coors. Ground ball rate is pretty strong. Back to 100 pitches. I think he's in a decent spot, even though it is Coors. I do like, the matchup for him. I don't really think all that highly of the Colorado lineup at this point. Kind of going down, not really interested in much. I think we could look at Austin Gomber, who's thrown the ball pretty well, in his last 4 starts after struggling to begin the season. 2 of his last 3 have been in Coors, and they've been for 18 plus DK points. Cincinnati isn't that dangerous of an offense, so I guess if we are going to consider Ashcraft, we probably should be considering Gomber for 2K less. Ryan Nelson not really standing out to me, even though it is against Oakland. He hasn't thrown the ball that well. one strong start this year against Miami. But aside from that, not really exciting. So I think it's pretty straightforward in how we're kind of attacking the slate. Um, I don't really have any interest in the pitching in the San Francisco game, even though I should, given the ballpark. Uh, Maybe as I dig in a little bit more, maybe Taiwan Walker's had some pretty solid appearances against, the Giants roster, so maybe he might stand out to me, but I have no interest in Ross Stripling right now. Uh, Carlos Hernandez, even though San Diego's struggling, I'm going to guess that it's mostly a bullpen game for the Royals. Um, he's just not going to go deep enough at 7,900 to make it worth it. So let's switch over to the main slate here. It is Spencer Strider Day, so we will be using Spencer Strider. Um, no, no worries about using him against Texas. I usually prefer Texas against left-handed pitching right now. Strider has struck out 10 plus in 3 of his last 4 starts. He has been giving up a few more runs, but that's all right. His strikeouts raise his floor, and they can offset some of those, mistakes. Garrett Cole probably not going to make my player pool. Giving up 2 home runs in each of his last 2 starts. He was solid against Toronto in his 1 start, but he lacked strikeouts in that matchup. Has just 10 strikeouts over his last 2 starts, both against Tampa Bay, so that's kind of understandable. But I really don't want to pay 11.5 for Garrett Cole, so I'm going to end up off of Cole uh, in favor of Strider, which I don't think is that bold of a decision. Vivaldi throwing the ball extremely well, like ridiculously well, but he's throwing a lot of pitches all of a sudden. For a guy that's had a lot of arm problems over the course of his career, is a bit worrisome. Uh, but I think I am going to have a couple shares because I think he's going to can virtually be unowned against Atlanta. Really tough matchup, but the way that he's been throwing the baseball, I think we can get away with using some for pure upside in our GPP builds. Not interested in Senga. Great start against Colorado, but going against Tampa Bay, his walk issues, his home run issues can pop up. I'm really just not interested in playing that game. Uh, Definitely not picking on Tampa Bay. Todd Bradley gets the call back up. Going to definitely be in my player pool. Uh, and I guess maybe he hasn't officially been named the starter yet, reading the blurb here, but um, if we expect him to be back up, Mets have struggled enough. Bradley shown plenty of upside. Going to be a very interesting option for us. Corbin Burns being just 8,600, very interesting. He's turning around over his last couple starts. I think he's an interesting option, but St. Louis has been swinging it pretty well. They did get shut down last night, but that was kind of after Miley had to leave the game. Uh, those out of nowhere bullpen games can be pretty tough on an offense, when they come in expecting Wade Miley's soft tossing, left handed pitching repertoire. So Burns is intriguing. I don't know that I want to go too heavy on him, but there is a route for him. JP France has looked really solid in his 2 major league starts. Not a big K guy so far, but I think the matchup is solid enough. We did just pump in Javier last night, who didn't have the big K game that I was kind of thinking he would, but he was very strong for us. So I'm willing to go back to France in this matchup. I think Chris Bassett is very intriguing against the Yankees. I know Judge is heating up, and that's always dangerous, but Bassett is throwing the ball ridiculously well. He's coming off a complete game shutout against Atlanta, who I believe has a much deeper and more difficult offense to deal with than the Yankees. Uh, and at 7,400, I'm willing to take that and take my chances there. Liberatore getting the call up. He struggled last year. They list it down here. Having a great start to his AAA season. Uh, and he happens to be left-handed. And to me, that's a big thing against this Brewers team. I love taking left-handed pitchers against Milwaukee. I was all about Montgomery last night. Uh, if he could have got through that sixth inning clean, really would have paid off well for us. But unfortunately, made a mistake to Anderson and then gave up a single to Turang before being yanked. Um, Liberatore always was a top prospect. Went to St. Louis in their Rosarena trade, so somebody that I believe has plenty of upside. And the last guy I'm really considering is going to be Clevenger. I hate him. I very much dislike Clevenger as a person. His pitching hasn't been all that great either. He has a couple strong starts to begin the season. Decent against Tampa Bay, against a tough Tampa Bay squad. Gave up some runs against Cincinnati, but still was decent. But the big thing for me is Cleveland is super weak, especially against right-handed pitching. Not a lot of power. Add in the fact that Naylor left last night's game early and Jose Ramirez is on the bereavement list. We're looking at a Cleveland lineup that could be extremely soft. And if we get the right lineup construction for Cleveland, Clevenger at 6,500 is going to feel like a steal, and it pains me to say it. So there we have it. There's my look at the pitching for today. If you like what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on. Get alerts anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. And if you want to join us at DFS Army, I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off your monthly membership. And as always, best of luck, everybody.